Hello everybody, and welcome to RPG Horror Stories. I'm your host, Suey, and remember, only people who like, comment, and subscribe roll critical hits for seduction. Now let's get on with the stories. A single slur destroys a campaign. I'm not the best writer, so this post shouldn't be too long. TLDR at the bottom if you don't feel like reading everything. Now here we go. Here are the relevant characters. Me, take a freaking guess. Argonian, the only relevant player besides me, and the Dungeon Master, the one who caused all of this. Now, I've been in a bit of a D&D craze recently. I joined several campaigns, including one I found on r/PvP, themed around Morrowind and Elder Scrolls. It was a murder mystery at first. We had to figure out who killed a slave in order to clear the name of our friend's employer. For most of the time I spent in that server, everything was great. The campaign was interesting, the DM was good about player agency, and they even encouraged us to do what we felt like. Our characters got along, it was cool. Now, Argonians had an idea for investigating the murder, where she would pose as a slave to infiltrate the plantation where it occurred. It was clever, it would make for a good story. Everyone liked this plan. Everyone except for the Dungeon Master, apparently. Well, I didn't know at the time, the Dungeon Master didn't have the best opinion of the Argonian's player. The Dungeon Master messaged Argonian privately, and the two argued over what Argonian's character had in terms of motivation for willingly entering slavery. After a big argument in private messages, the DM told Argonian, YWNBAW. For those... Oh. I've never heard it, translated that way. Okay, so let me translate it. What the DM said in this case was, "You will never be a real woman." It shouldn't be said by anyone. It's a slur against transgender people, used almost exclusively by transphobes. It's a big thing. Now, this was also supposedly a big argument in the general out-of-character chat about Coda, where supposedly Argonian vented about how much they hated Coda. I can't confirm or deny this, as all the messages were deleted. The following day, Argonian messaged me saying that they'd left the server and invited me to join their own campaign. When I asked why they decided to leave, they sent a screenshot of their conversation with the Dungeon Master. Seeing the slur pissed me off. I'm LGBTQIA myself, but I decided to get both sides of the story before I made any decisions. I talked with both Argonian and the Dungeon Master to figure out what exactly happened. Argonian said that they didn't rant like the DM claimed. They just said they hated Coda's author. They also claimed to have left a good luck message in the out-of-character chat for the Dungeon Master, but if it was there, the Dungeon Master deleted it before I woke up. To hear the DM tell it, Argonian was an attention-seeking asshole who blew up at the Dungeon Master for no reason and broke the rules in his ranting in the out-of-character chat. I could maybe understand that if there were any rules like that listed at all anywhere in the server. There were not. When I asked about the slur and why he felt it was necessary, the Dungeon Master said he just didn't care. In our conversation, he was aggressive, unapologetic, and provided no excuse for his actions. To put it bluntly, it seemed like the Argonian side was the right one here. I decided that my time in the server would come to an end. I also felt that the other players should know about what happened and why I and the Argonian left the server. As such, I friended all of them before posting a goodbye message in the general chat. I encouraged them to talk to both sides before making their own opinions, and I wished them luck. I also posted all the screenshots from my conversations with Argonian and DM, as well as the screenshots of the original conversation between the Argonian and DM. I soon got a message from the Dungeon Master that simply said, What a disgusting creature. One of the people who I friended told me that the Dungeon Master deleted my message. Then he deleted the text channel. And then he deleted the server. Over the next few days, I messaged everyone explaining what had happened. And nobody was happy with the Dungeon Master. I blocked him, and I haven't heard from him since. Too long didn't read. The Dungeon Master dislikes the player, throws the transphobic slur, and I reveal what happens to everyone, which causes the Dungeon Master to delete the server. Listen, as much as I hate when people throw that slur so haphazardly, you made the best possible course of action here, which was to analyze the situation, sit down, talk to people, communicate, and then make an informed opinion, which is something you should do with everything in life, not just in Dungeons & Dragons, but you should do this for your everyday life. You should try and make an informed opinion instead of just forming it because somebody on Fox News tells you something. It's unfortunate that we have people like that. Now, on to the next story. Rollerblading Rick screamed out of Shadowrun game before he could introduce us to his knife skills. I sent this story into the Happy Jacks RPG podcast a few years ago, but I figured it deserved to be copy and pasted here. Please, enjoy. Disclaimer: this story contains unseemly characters. Those names have been changed as a courtesy to their disappointed parents. Recently, a few of our longtime gaming friends have moved out of state, leaving some holes in our Shadowrun group that needed to be filled. I turned to the internet, cause, that's what you do nowadays. Having heard the horrible stories of shitbag game masters, webcam masturbators, and cheeseburger fuckers, I want to hear about that one. Wait, is there a horror story about a dude who fucked a cheeseburger in, mid-game? This sounds like some Brickleberry type shit. What the fuck? I decided that maybe I should meet any online recruits in public before inviting them to my friend's apartment. The group and I arranged to meet an internet person named Rick at a local diner. Before heading out, Rick texted me saying, "Let me know an hour before you head out to the dinner. I'm on rollerblades. That's how long it'll take me to get there." That was red flag number 1. I told the group that we ought to have a safe word, in case Rick turned out to be awful. Naturally, we chose the horrendous game system we all hate as our safe word: Palladium Rifts. If, during the interview with Rick, any one of us started talking about wanting to run a Rifts game, we knew that they were covertly exercising their veto power over this new player. Damn Rifts. Oh god, I haven't heard that game name in a while. Fuck. I mean, at least it isn't fatal, but still. We sit down for dinner, and I see Rick for the first time. He's got a long, nastily matted ponytail, and a backpack full of unsorted computer parts that he claimed to have purchased. Red flag number 2. He plops down wordlessly at our table. Red flag number 3. Always say hello, dumbass. After a few awkward introductions, Rick takes over the conversation, saying, "Let me tell you a story about who I am as a player. And after I tell this story, you're gonna either love me or you're gonna hate me." That was red flag number 4. Only people I've ever heard say that sort of shit were wargamers, so yeah. Rick's story involved him arriving at a Pathfinder game for the first time, and demanding to be the game master so that Rick would have the opportunity to play himself in the game. That's 2016 Rick we're talking about here, lost in time and finding himself in a medieval setting. The game master begrudgingly agreed. We asked Rick if this was a good idea, seeing as how he'd presumably be underpowered next to all these actual fantasy heroes. Rick pulled a harmonica out of his side holster and said, "I'm a real-life bard. He also said that 2016 Rick has real-life knife skills. We asked him if he had a knife, and he said, well, yeah. Red flag number 5. Okay, this is shaping out fucking horrifying. According to Rick, the Pathfinder group was impressed with his antics. The game master and owner of the house, not so much, because Rick engaged in behaviors that seemed kind of burglary. Rick told us he was constipated the night of his game, and had to get up to use the bathroom about 10 times. In one instance, Rick got distracted by the homeowner's cat and chased him around the living room, much to the game master's bewilderment. On another instance, Rick ran out of toilet paper and began rummaging through the game master's drawers. Also, to everyone's bewilderment. Finally, Rick had accidentally engaged the bathroom lock before closing it from the outside so that no one could enter. The game wrapped up, and afterwards, Rick got a text from the game master. Rick showed us the conversation, and I was horrified. Game Master, at 10:45. Rick, I'm sorry, but after tonight, I don't think I can trust you in my house. I hope you understand. Good luck finding a new group. Rick, 5 minutes later. Wow, that's surprising, but I get it. The Game Master, 11 o'clock. Thanks for understanding. Rick then sent the Game Master 6 multi-paragraph long rambling psycho ex-girlfriend style texts over the course of the next few days, which included unsolicited phone numbers to Rick's character references, who would vouch for Rick's integrity. So at this point, I was terrified of Rick, who was sitting a little too close to me in the diner booth. Rick leaned in and told us how he's going to get back in the Game Master's good graces. The first step of Rick's plan is to have his friends of his show up at the Game Master's house, unannounced, and describe to Game Master why Rick is such a good guy. The second stage of Rick's plan, well, this is when things go from what the fuck to full-blown batshit. Rick intends to show up at the Game Master's house on the day of the game and play his harmonica outside on the sidewalk as a form of protest. Rick described this as, "I am protesting you so that you will learn to be my friend." Rick believes the other players, having recognized Rick and his enjoyable antics from the previous game, will come out and join his protests. The Game Master would thus have no choice but to let Rick play. I'd long since stopped counting the red flags. At this point, I blurted out, "Rifts!" I'm talking about running an online Palladium Rifts game. After dinner, I blocked Rick's number and deleted the account from the website that I used to find him so that he couldn't track me down on his rollerblade and introduce me to his real-life knife skills. The moral of the story is, screen any new recruits before letting them into your game. Horror stories are real. They are caused by everyday psychos like Rick. Bro, you almost got murked by a wannabe bard. Fucking hell, a neckbeard almost murked you. You're so fucking lucky. Holy shit. I don't know how you managed to have the foresight for this, but goddamn you were good on this. Holy fuck. Especially the smart idea of using a fucking garbage campaign setting, Palladium Rift's garbage system, to be like, hey, this is a garbage person. Fucking beautiful. I am so happy that you didn't just get murked by some fucking blue cheese smelling neckbeard on the side of the street wearing rollerblades that wants to practice their knife skills. Fucking hell, if you want to practice your knife skills, practice them on a fucking cucumber. Preferably your own, Rick. God fucking damn it. Okay. Okay, that's all we have for today. Before I get more triggered, that's all we have for today. Much love. Stay sexy. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Be streaming later. Bye-bye!